I was never really a runner. The way I see running is a gift, especially when you have stage 4 cancer. I'm Anne. I'm running the Boston Marathon, presented by Bank of America. I run for Dana-Farber Cancer Institute to give people like me a chance to thrive in life, even with cancer.
Join Bank of America in helping Anne's cause. Give if you can at BofA.com/supportAnne. What would you like the power to do? References to charitable organizations is not an endorsement by Bank of America Corporation. Copyright 2025.
Hi, and welcome to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. My name is Bill Moore. I am a food truck business trainer, author of Food Truck 101, Beginner to Winner, and the forthcoming book, Food Truck 201, Get Off the Truck. This podcast is all about helping you start and grow your food truck business. Today, I'm going to talk to you about what is one of the most saddest posts that you can ever find on a food truck group on Facebook. And that is a post that contains something about the income of a food truck business owner. This particular one that struck me today, and here's a direct quote, 7 days a week, and we're open 5 of those days. There are 6 of us in the family, 3 of which haven't earned a dime yet in 3 years. Okay, that's pretty sad. A business that's open 5 days a week for 3 years and 3 people aren't making money off of that business. So that means there's no profit, no salary. That's sad. Food truck owners often say that or something similar. They don't make any money or they just enough money to remain open, but they really just don't seem to get ahead. And these posts are so sad for one simple fact. There is no reason to own a business and not make enough money to pay yourself. Why do you own the business to begin with? Owning a business and not paying yourself is just an expensive hobby. Think about it. If you cannot control your expenses and generate the sales necessary to make at least 10% of the sales as a salary, why are you in business? There are at least 3 ways your business should be contributing to your personal income. The first way is repaying all the startup cash that you injected into the business. Very few people think about repaying themselves. So let's say that before you ever started your business, you scrimped and you saved and you worked weekends and overtime and you saved every penny that you could to buy your first truck. And you decided you were going to save some money on top of buying that first truck by getting a blank canvas. And that way all you got to do is just build a little bit at a time as you can afford to. So you spend out a decent amount of money to get that blank canvas, and now you are building every weekend, spending all your personal time and buying material and building it a little at a time. So let's say at the end of this build time, you spent, let's just choose a nice round number, $15,000. But you haven't permitted, you haven't bought insurance, you haven't got a commissary, you haven't spent money on propane or inventory or gasoline. So you got to get all of those things taken care of. So let's put the grand total, build and getting yourself set up at $20,000. And that's before you're selling one morsel of food. So your business now owes you as a person $20,000. Now, if you set up as an LLC or you got an EIN for the business, that creates a separate entity from you and the business. You are effectively 2 different entities. Part of the monthly expenses that a business has is to repay debt. That business owes you a debt because you injected $20,000 to get going. So how do you pay it back? In monthly increments, just like any other bill that you have in your business. You're going to pay it back a little at a time. So the business is now set up to pay you a monthly expense to repay that $20,000 that you put into the business to get going. That's one way you have income coming back to you. Effectively, the business is making you whole from that $20,000 that you've already injected into it. So that's an expense the business pays to you. The second way your business should be paying you is the obvious way. You should be getting a salary. Certainly the business should be paying you to lead it, to make decisions, and of course for the work of your hands. This can be a modest salary. It doesn't have to be something that's going to make you a millionaire, but it should be a modest salary to at least pay your personal needs for your family. And again, if the business cannot afford a tiny salary, that means there are problems somewhere in the business. And those problems could be from how the inventory is handled. It could be how the other expenses are being handled. And all you've got, if you're not able to pay yourself any kind of even a tiny salary, is you have an expensive hobby. The third way you should be paying yourself is as a bonus on the profit your business generates. And that's up to you how that can be structured. You could reinvest some of the profits back into the business. You can set aside some of the profits for a literal rainy day, because we know that we are impacted by weather. And you could set some aside to pay yourself a bonus for a job well done. So that's 3 ways that your business should be paying you money. 1 to make you whole from all the money that you invested to get started. 1 is a salary for your continued leadership. And then 1 is a bonus for a job well done based on your leadership and how you handle the business on a day-to-day basis. So I'm sure you're thinking, well, how do I get to making profit? Well, you got to know your numbers. I talk about this all the time. You have to know your break-even point, and you have to know that break-even point for a single day of operation. That break-even point would include that particular day's portion for repaying that personal loan, all the expenses, all the permits and all the licenses and all the insurance and all the inventory. And then it should also include that day's portion of your salary. Pretty simple, right? You generate that amount of sales and you can pay yourself a little teeny tiny salary. You can repay the loan you made to your business. And then anything beyond that break-even point becomes a profit that you give yourself a bonus on. Pretty simple. If you know your break-even point in sales, which again pays you, and you miss that break-even point today, what should you do tomorrow? It should be an automatic. You work harder. You go to marketing. You go to social media. You want to bring in sales enough today to bring your break-even point again, but to also make up for what you fell short yesterday. If you don't react to the first shortfall in sales, I promise you'll see a pattern of shortfalls to the point where you stop taking a salary and then you stop paying yourself. Because that's the easiest thing for you not to pay. I just won't pay myself. Because you got to pay for the food to open tomorrow. You got to pay your insurance. Otherwise, they won't insure you. You got to pay the cell phone bill so you can transact credit cards. So the first bill that you don't pay is the one to yourself. I won't take salary today. Won't take salary this month. And then eventually you stop repaying the loan that you made to the business to set it up in the first place. Because again, what are you going to do? You're going to repossess your business? Well, you already own it. But the business should be paying you back the money you invested into it. So you stop doing those 2 things, and then you end up being like that really sad post that I read off earlier. Been doing this for 3 years and haven't made any money. That's 3 years worth of opportunities you could have hit in the break-even point on one day. That's 3 years of opportunity you could have sat down and gone, there has to be a better way. I can make money doing this. Other people do it. What am I doing differently? You see why that's the saddest post to me? Not creating enough sales to pay yourself over the course of a year is how many missed opportunities to generate sales to start paying yourself. Every day is a new opportunity to bring in new business and turn that business into profitability. But not knowing what the target is, not knowing what the break-even point is, means you will never achieve the full potential your business has when you wrote your business plan or what you think it could do when you had that first dream. Thank you guys so much for listening to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. If you're finding all the information helpful to your food truck business, please become a monthly supporter of the podcast. Just hit the support button or follow the link in the description. Every little bit does help keep us going. Join our Facebook group. It's called Food Truck Training. We have a whole bunch of awesome members at all different levels, from brand new beginners to decades-old veterans. They all have your back when it comes to helping you and your food truck. And again, thank you for listening. Come back tomorrow because I got plenty more to say when it comes to helping you and your food truck business grow.